Hey guys, this is AJ from AJ's Adventures, and happy Star Wars Sunday! Today's fanfic will be, what if Anakin told the Jedi he was with Padme? So let's begin this. Anakin stood before the Jedi Council, his heart pounding in his chest as he prepared to reveal his deepest secret. He had known for some time that he needed to confess the truth to the Jedi. But fear and shame had kept him silent. Finally, he could take it no longer. Master Yoda, Master Windu. Masters, I have something important to tell you, Anakin said, his voice trembling. It's about Padme. The Jedi Masters exchanged curious glances, sensing the gravity of the young Jedi's words. What is it, Anakin? Mace Windu asked, his deep voice calm and reassuring. Anakin took a deep breath and gathered his courage. I love her, he admitted. Padme and I have been together for some time now. We're in love. A stunned silence fell over the council chamber as the Jedi processed Anakin's confession. Master Yoda narrowed his eyes, his gaze piercing as he studied Anakin intently. A serious matter this is, young Skywalker. The diminutive Jedi Master said, his voice grave. The Jedi Code forbids attachment, as you well know, but more pressing is the danger to which a relationship exposes you and your beloved. Anakin nodded, his eyes downcast. I know, Master Yoda, but I couldn't keep it a secret any longer. I can't live without her. Master Windu stepped forward, his expression serious. Anakin, you know the risks of revealing your attachment. The Council will have to take action to ensure that your relationship with Padme does not compromise the security of the Republic. Anakin nodded again, his heart heavy. I understand, Master Windu. I'll do whatever it takes to protect Padme and the Republic. The Jedi Council conferred in hushed tones, their expressions grave and as they considered the implications of Anakin's confession. Finally, Master Yoda turned to Anakin. Expel you from the Order, we cannot, but closely monitor your behavior, we will, and separate you from Senator Amidala, we must. A dangerous time this is, for you and for her. Anakin felt a wave of despair wash over him as he absorbed the Council's decision. But he knew in his heart that he had done the right thing by confessing his love for Padme, even if it meant being separated from her. He would do anything to protect her in the Republic he had sworn to serve. How would Obi-Wan react to the news? Anakin's confession to the Jedi Council about his relationship with Padme was a momentous one, and it would not be long before the news reached his former master, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan had always been a mentor to Anakin, but he also saw him as a brother and a dear friend. He knew that Anakin was deeply committed to the Jedi Order, but he also recognized the intensity of his feelings for Padme. When Obi-Wan first heard the news, he was shocked and surprised. He could hardly believe that his former Padawan had fallen in love with the Senator, and that he had kept it hidden for so long. But as he thought about it more, he began to understand. As Anakin's closest confidant and mentor, Obi-Wan was the first person he turned to when he needed someone to talk to. Obi-Wan always sensed that there was something troubling Anakin, but he could never quite put his finger on it. Now he understood. Obi-Wan went to see Anakin in his chambers, where the young Jedi was waiting for him. As soon as he saw Obi-Wan, Anakin stood and bowed respectfully. Master, he said, his voice trembling slightly. I'm sorry you had to hear the news, to hear about this from someone else. Obi-Wan smiled warmly, putting his hand on Anakin's shoulder. You don't have to apologize, Anakin. I'm just glad you were able to tell the council the truth. Anakin nodded, his eyes downcast. I just hope they understand. I don't mean to break the code, Master, but I couldn't keep it a secret any longer. Obi-Wan's expression grew serious. I know, Anakin. The Jedi Code can be difficult to reconcile with our emotions, but you did the right thing by telling the truth. Anakin looked up, his eyes meeting Obi-Wan's. What do you think will happen now, Master? Obi-Wan sighed, his expression troubled. I'm not sure, Anakin. The council will have to decide what to do next. But no matter what happens, I want you to know that I will always be there to help you. Anakin smiled gratefully, a small glimmer of hope in his eyes. Thank you, Master. That means a lot to me. Obi-Wan patted Anakin's shoulder again, his voice gentle. Of course, Anakin. You're like a brother to me, and I'll always be there for you, no matter what. Would the council expel Anakin from the Order? When Anakin confessed his relationship with Padme to the Jedi Council, it was a serious breach of the Jedi Code. The Council had always been clear that attachment was dangerous and it could lead to the dark side. They had also been clear that any Jedi who violated the code could be expelled from the Order. As the Council members discussed Anakin's situation, they knew they had to consider the seriousness of this matter. On the one hand, Anakin was one of the most skilled Jedi of his generation, and his talents were crucial to the survival of the Republic. On the other hand, the danger of attachment was real, and Anakin's situation could not be ignored. Finally, after a long discussion, the council reached a decision. Master Yoda turned to Anakin, his voice solemn. A young Skywalker, a grave matter this is. The code forbids attachment, as you know. But expel you from the Order, we cannot. Instead, closely monitor your behavior, we will, and separate you from Senator Amidala, we must. Anakin's heart sank as he absorbed the council's words. He knew that they were taking a serious risk by allowing him to remain in the Order, but he was grateful that they were giving him a chance to prove himself. I understand, Master Yoda, Anakin said, his voice filled with regret. I'll do whatever it takes to protect the Republic. Mace Windu stepped forward, his expression serious. Anakin, we need you to be strong. The galaxy is a precarious position, and we need all the Jedi we can get. But remember, your duty to the Order and the Republic must always come first. Anakin nodded, his eyes downcast. I understand, Master Windu. I won't let you down. Obi-Wan, who had been observing the discussion from the sidelines, stepped forward to offer his support. Anakin, you know I'm always here for you. he said, his voice filled with warmth and concern. Whatever happens, we'll get through it together. Anakin looked up at Obi-Wan, his eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, Master. I appreciate the support. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions serious. They knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but they were also confident that Anakin had the strength and skill to face the challenges to come. Only time would tell if he could rise to the occasion and prove himself worthy of the Jedi Order. Would Ahsoka still become Anakin's Padawan? Ahsoka Tano was a Togruta Padawan who was assigned to Anakin Skywalker as his apprentice during the Clone Wars. She quickly formed a close bond with Anakin and became an integral part of his team. When the Jedi Council learned about Anakin's relationship with Padme, they had to consider the implications for Ahsoka and her training. The council called Ahsoka in for a meeting to discuss the matter. Ahsoka, Master Yoda began, a difficult decision we must take. The Jedi Code forbids attachment, as you know, but Anakin Skywalker, your master, has developed a relationship with Senator Amidala. Ahsoka looked shocked, unsure of how to respond. Master Yoda, what does this mean for me? Master Windu spoke up. We cannot allow Anakin's situation to interfere with your training, Ahsoka. But we must take precautions to ensure that you are not unduly influenced by his attachment to Senator Amidala. Ahsoka nodded, her expression serious. I understand, Masters. What do I need to do? Master Kenobi stepped forward, his expression gentle. Ahsoka, we need you to be strong and to focus on your training. We will monitor your progress closely to ensure that you remain on the path of the Jedi. Ahsoka nodded, a determined look on her face. I won't let you down, Masters. I will do whatever it takes to become the best Jedi I can be. Master Yoda smiled approvingly. Good. Wise you are, young Ahsoka. A great Jedi you will become, we hope. With that, Ahsoka was allowed to continue her training under Anakin's guidance, with the understanding that she would be closely monitored by the Council. Over time, she would prove herself to be a capable and resourceful Padawan. Even as the Clone Wars raged on and the threat of the dark side loomed over the galaxy, despite the challenges that lay ahead, Ahsoka was determined to honor the Jedi Code and become the best Padawan she could be, no matter what obstacles she might face. Would Anakin tell Ahsoka about him and Padme? When Anakin revealed his relationship with Padme to the Jedi Council, he was also faced with the difficult decision of whether to tell his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano. Anakin cared deeply for Ahsoka and had formed a strong bond with her, but he also knew that he had to be careful about who he shared his secret with. After some reflection, Anakin decided that he could trust Ahsoka with the truth. He called her to his quarters for a private conversation. Ahsoka, I have something to tell you, he began, his expression serious. I've been keeping a secret from you, and it's time to tell you, and it's time for you to know the truth. Ahsoka looked at him with concern. What is it, Master? What's going on? Anakin took a deep breath, steeling himself for what he was about to say. I've been in a relationship with Senator Padme Amidala for some time now. It's a violation of the Jedi Code, and I'm under close security by the Council. But I wanted you to know, because you're my Padawan, and I trust you. Ahsoka's eyes widened in surprise, but she quickly regained her composure. I understand, Master. You can trust me. I won't tell anyone else. Anakin nodded, a grateful look on his face. Thank you, Ahsoka. You're a true friend and a loyal Padawan. The two of them talked for a while longer, discussing the situations and the challenges that lay ahead. Anakin made it clear that he was committed to his duties as a Jedi, even as he struggled with his feelings for Padme. Ahsoka listened attentively, offering her support and encouragement. Over the coming months, Ahsoka would continue to be a trusted confidant and ally to Anakin. Even as the Clone Wars raged on and the threat of the dark side loomed over them, she would prove herself to be a loyal and capable Padawan, one who could be counted on to help Anakin face whatever challenges came their way. Would Anakin tell the Jedi about his nightmares of Padme dying in childbirth? Anakin Skywalker had been haunted by a recurring nightmare in which his beloved wife, Padme Amidala, died in childbirth. Despite his efforts to prevent it from happening, the dream continued to plague him, filling him with a sense of dread and foreboding. One day, during a meeting of the Jedi Council, Anakin felt that he could no longer keep his fears to himself. He knew that his vision was not just a simple dream, but a premonition of what was to come. Excuse me, Masters, Anakin spoke up, his voice quivering with emotion. I have something I need to share with you. The council turned to him, their expression serious. What is it, Anakin? Master Windu asked. Anakin took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. I've been having a recurring nightmare about Padme. In the dream, she dies in childbirth, and I'm unable to save her. The council looked at each other, exchanging concerned glances. Master Yoda spoke up. Terrible these visions are. Serious the consequences may be. Anakin nodded, his expression grim. I know, Master Yoda. That's why I need your help. I don't know what to do. I can't lose Padme, and I'll do anything to keep her safe. The council conferred for a few moments before Master Windu spoke up again. We'll look into this, Anakin. We'll do everything in our power to help you, but you must also be careful. These visions can be deceptive, and they can lead you down a dangerous path. Anakin nodded, grateful for their concern. Thank you, Masters. I appreciate your help. Over the coming weeks and months, the Council would work with Anakin to help him understand his visions and to prepare him for the challenges that lay ahead. Anakin would learn to trust in the Force and rely on his own instincts and intuition to guide him through the difficult times to come. Unfortunately, he would come to understand that his destiny was his own, and that he had the power to shape it in ways that would benefit himself, his loved ones, and the galaxy as a whole. Would Palpatine still turn Anakin to the dark side? Despite the Jedi Council's best efforts to help Anakin Skywalker deal with his visions and fears, the dark side continued to exert in its influence over him. And when Chancellor Palpatine, secretly the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, revealed himself to the key to be the key to unlocking the power to save his wife Padme from dying, Anakin found himself increasingly drawn to him. On one fateful day, as Anakin was struggling with his fears and with his doubts and fears, Palpatine took advantage of the situation to make his move. He called Anakin to his office and began to speak to him in a soothing, almost hypnotic tone. Anakin, I sense your distress. You are troubled by your visions of Padme's death, and you feel powerless to prevent it. But I can help you. I have the power to save her, to prevent her from dying. All you have to do is trust me, and together we can unlock the secrets of the dark side. Anakin looked at him with a mixture of fear and fascination. He had been long intrigued by the power that Palpatine possessed, and he was desperate to find a way to save Padme. But he also knew that he was walking a dangerous path. Master, I'm not sure I understand, he said, his voice trembling. What do you mean? Palpatine leaned closer to him, his eyes glittering with an intensity that made Anakin uneasy. I mean, the Jedi Council has failed you, Anakin. They cannot see the truth, but I can. I can show you the way to true power, to a future where you can rule the galaxy and save the woman you love. All you have to do is trust me. Anakin hesitated, feeling a sense of dread welling up inside him. He knew that he was standing at a crossroads, and that his decision would have far-reaching consequences for himself and everyone around him. But in the end, his love for Padme and his desire to protect her overrode his doubts and fears. He nodded, a steely determination in his eyes. I'll do it. I'll trust you, Master. And with those words, Anakin sealed his fate, setting in motion a chain of events that will lead him down a path of darkness and destruction and forever alter the course of the galaxy. Would Anakin tell Ahsoka about his nightmares? Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, had always shared a close bond, one that was built on trust, loyalty, and a deep sense of respect for one another. But there were things that Anakin had kept from her, things that he felt were too dangerous or too personal for her to share. One of those things was his recurring nightmare about Padme's death in childbirth. Anakin had confided in the Jedi Council, but he had not yet told Ahsoka. One day, as they were returning from a mission, Ahsoka noticed that Anakin seemed preoccupied, his thoughts distant and troubled. Master, is everything okay? She asked, her concern etched on her face. Anakin sighed, knowing that he could not keep his fears from her any longer. No, Ahsoka, it's not. I've been having these nightmares about Padme, about her dying in childbirth. I'm afraid that my visions might be coming true. Ahsoka's eyes widened with shock and sympathy. Oh, Master, I had no idea. That's terrible. Anakin nodded, his expression grave. Yes, it is. I don't know what to do. I feel so helpless, so powerless to prevent it. Ahsoka placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. You're not powerless, Master. You're one of the strongest Jedi I know. We'll find a way to stop this from happening. Anakin smiled, feeling a sense of gratitude and affection for his young Padawan. Thank you, Ahsoka. Your words mean a lot to me. From that moment on, Anakin felt a sense of relief, knowing that he could count on Ahsoka's support and understanding. He knew that the road ahead would be difficult and fraught with danger, but he also knew that he would not have to face it alone. How would Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Padme, and the Jedi react to Anakin's turn to the dark side? The news of Anakin Skywalker's turn to the dark side of the Force came as a shock to all who knew him, particularly his closest allies and friends. Ahsoka Tano was devastated when she heard the news. She had always believed in Anakin's goodness and had never doubted his loyalty to the Jedi Order. When she learned that he had turned to the dark side, that he had turned against them and joined the Sith, and she felt a sense of betrayal and confusion. Master Skywalker turned to the dark side? She asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin's former mentor, was equally stunned. I'm afraid so, Ahsoka. The reports we've received indicate that he played a key role in the destruction of the Jedi Temple and the murder of countless innocent people. Padme Amidala, Anakin's wife, was in a state of shock when she received the news. She could not believe that the man she loved, the father of their unborn children, had become a Sith Lord. What do we do? She asked, her eyes filled with tears. How could this have happened? The Jedi Council, too, was reeling from the news. They had always known that Anakin was a risk, that his attachment to Padme and his fear for her safety could lead him down a dangerous path. But they had never imagined that he would actually turn to the dark side and become a pawn of the Sith. We must act quickly and decisively, Master Windu, Mace Windu, one of the Council's most senior members, said. We cannot allow the Sith to gain any more power or to spread their influence any further. As for Anakin himself, he was consumed by a sense of rage and fear, his mind twisted by the dark side. He saw his former friends and allies as enemies, obstacles to his ultimate goal of saving Padme and ruling the galaxy with her at his side. I will not be denied my destiny, he snarled, his eyes blazing with a fierce, unnatural light. I will do whatever it takes to ensure that Padme lives, even if it means destroying everything and everyone I once held dear. And with those words, Anakin sealed his fate, setting in motion a chain of events that would lead to his downfall and the rise of the Galactic Empire. Would Mace and Padme still die? The events that led to Mace Windu's and Padme Amidala's deaths were intricately tied to Anakin Skywalker's turn to the dark side. So it's difficult to say what might have happened if things had gone differently. However, we can imagine a possible scenario in which they both survive. As the newly crowned Emperor, Anakin, now known as Darth Vader, had complete control of the galaxy. His power was absolute, and his will was law. He had rid the galaxy of the Jedi Order and had betrayed those who opposed him. But there was still one person he cared about above all else, and that was Padme. He had promised her that he would save her from death, but as time passed, it became clear that he would not be able to keep his promise. One day, he found himself standing by Padme's side, watching over her as she slept. He knew that her time was running out, and that there was nothing he could do to save her. "Padme, my love," he said softly, taking her hand in his. "I'm so sorry. I tried to save you, but I failed." Padme stirred, opening her eyes and looking up at him with a sad smile. "It's okay, Anakin. I know you did your best." Suddenly, they both heard a commotion outside the room. Anakin drew his lightsaber, ready to defend Padme against any threat. But when the door burst open, it was not an enemy that entered, but a group of rebel soldiers, led by a familiar face, Mace Windu. "Anakin, we've come to take you down," Mace said, his lightsaber ignited and ready for battle. Anakin hesitated, torn between his loyalty to the Sith and his memories of the man who had once been his friend and mentor. Padme, sensing his conflict, placed a hand on his arm. "Anakin, please," she said, "don't do this. You can still be the man I love. You can still choose the light." Anakin looked at her, his heart torn. In that moment, he realized that he did not want to be a Sith Lord anymore. He wanted to be her husband, a father, a friend. He wanted to live a life free of fear and anger, a life full of love and compassion. With a heavy heart, he deactivated his lightsaber and surrendered to Mace and the rebels. Padme and Mace were both surprised but relieved to see that Anakin had come back to his senses. "Anakin, what's going on? Are you okay?" Mace asked. "I'm done with the dark side," Anakin said, his voice firm. "I want to make things right, to atone for my mistakes." Mace and the rebels were skeptical first, but over time, they came to see that Anakin was truly committed to turning his life around. Padme and Anakin were able to start a new life together, raising their children in peace and helping to rebuild the galaxy. Mace continued to lead the rebels in their fight against the Empire, but he did so with a newfound hope that the galaxy would be saved from the darkness that had consumed it for so long. Would Anakin and the Jedi be able to defeat Palpatine? If Anakin had not turned to the dark side, he and the Jedi might have been able to defeat Palpatine with Anakin's help. Palpatine's plan to eliminate the Jedi Order might not have succeeded, and he would have had to face a unified front of Jedi warriors, which would have been a daunting task. One possible scenario that could be that Anakin, Obi-Wan, and other Jedi, together with the Rebel Alliance, launch a coordinated attack against the Empire and its leader. After a long and grueling battle, they finally reach Palpatine's throne room. "Anakin, you must destroy him," Obi-Wan tells his former apprentice, lightsaber at the ready. Anakin nods, his determination etched on his face. I will not fail you, Master. Palpatine, sensing their presence, turns to face them. Ah, young Skywalker, I have been expecting you. You and your little band of rebels don't stand a chance against me. Anakin steps forward, his lightsaber glowing brightly. You're the one who doesn't stand a chance, Palpatine. Your reign of terror ends now. Palpatine crackles, his eyes flashing with dark energy. Foolish boy, you know nothing of the power of the dark side. I am the true ruler of the galaxy. The two adversaries clash, their lightsabers striking and sparking against each other. Anakin fights with all his skill and strength, determined to put an end to the Sith once and for all. Meanwhile, the other Jedi and rebels fight off against Palpatine's guards and defend against the onslaught of the Imperial army. After a long and grueling battle, Anakin finally gains the upper hand. He disarms Palpatine and stands over him, lightsaber at the ready. Any last words? Anakin asks. Palpatine sneers. You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. The dark side will always find a way to return. Anakin hesitates, unsure of what to do. Obi-Wan steps forward, his own lightsaber still ignited. Anakin, the choice is yours. What will it be? Anakin takes a deep breath and makes his decision. I choose the light. With a swift stroke, he strikes down Palpatine, ending the Sith's reign of terror once and for all. The remaining Jedi and rebels celebrate their victory, but they know that the galaxy is still in need of repair. They work together to bring order and justice to the galaxy, rebuilding what was destroyed and healing what was broken. Anakin, having seen the error of his ways, becomes a beacon of hope for the people of the galaxy, helping to inspire a new era of peace and prosperity. Would Palpatine still execute Order 66? If Anakin had not turned to the dark side, the execution of Order 66 might not have been successful. Palpatine would have faced a unified front of Jedi warriors who could have resisted the order, making it much harder for him to carry out his plan to eliminate the Jedi Order. In this scenario, it is possible that Palpatine would have attempted to execute Order 66, but the Jedi Order would have been better prepared and more alert to the danger. If they had caught wind of the plot, they may have been able to warn their fellow Jedi and take measures to prevent the clones from turning on them. In this alternate timeline, a possible dialogue between Palpatine and his subordinates regarding the execution of Order 66 could have gone like this. Execute Order 66, Palpatine says in a commanding tone to his subordinates. Yes, my lord, one of the clone commanders responds, standing at attention. Make sure the Jedi do not survive, Palpatine adds, a malicious glint in his eyes. The clone commander hesitates. But my lord, the Jedi have served the Republic with honor for centuries. We cannot simply turn on them without cause, Palpatine's expression darkens. You dare question my orders? The Jedi are traitors, and they must be eliminated. Now carry out the command, or face the consequences. The clone commander, reluctant but unwilling to face Palpatine's wrath, relays the order to his troops, but the Jedi are already aware of the danger and are ready to defend themselves. The Jedi and the clones engage in a fierce battle. But this time, the Jedi are better prepared and more successful in defending themselves. The clones were ordered to carry out Order 66. The clones who were ordered to carry out Order 66 may also be more reluctant to do so, as they would have witnessed the Jedi's bravery and valor firsthand. In the end, the execution of Order 66 may have failed, and the Jedi Order would have been able to survive and continue to serve the Republic, as they always have. What would happen? What would the Jedi do with the clones after they defeated Palpatine with the help of Anakin? After the defeat of Palpatine, the Jedi would have to deal with the aftermath of the war and the fate of the clones. The Jedi may have a difficult time deciding what to do with the clones, as they were initially created to serve the Republic and were not inherently evil. One possible dialogue among the Jedi about the fate of the clones could have gone like this. Brothers, we must decide what to do with the clones, Obi-Wan said, addressing the remaining Jedi. They have served the Republic well, but they were also responsible for the deaths of many of our fellow Jedi, Master Yoda added. We cannot simply abandon them, Ahsoka Tano said, speaking up. They were forced to turn against us, and they deserve better than to be left to their own devices. Anakin Skywalker also spoke up. I think we should give them a chance to prove themselves, to show that they can choose to fight for what's right, not just because they were programmed to do so. But how can we trust them after what they have done? Master Windu questioned. They have proven the loyalty to the Republic, and we have fought alongside them, Obi-Wan replied. Perhaps we can work with them to create a new order, one that is based on principles of freedom and justice, rather than obedience. I agree, Yoda said. A new path for the clones we must forge. The Jedi agreed to work with the clones to create a new order, one that would not be based on blind obedience and would allow the clones to choose their own path in life. With the help of the Jedi, the clones were able to find a new purpose and meaning in their lives. Together, they worked to rebuild the galaxy, promoting peace and justice throughout the galaxy. So if the Jedi were to, for some reason, to decide to commission the clones, this is my question. How would the Senate react to the decommission of the clones? The Senate would likely have a strong reaction to the decommission of the clones, as they were instrumental in winning the war against the Separatists. One possible dialogue among the senators about the decommission of the clones could have gone like this. Senator Amidala, What's the status of the clones? Asked Chancellor Organa during a Senate meeting. Your Excellency, the Jedi have decided to decommission the clones and allow them to live out their lives as they see it fit, Padme Amidala explained. Decommission the clones? This is madness! They were bred to fight for us, to defend the Republic. And now we're just going to cast them aside? Senator Ornfried added. We must consider the ethical implications of keeping an army of genetically engineered soldiers, Senator Mon Mothma spoke up. The clones are sentient beings with the right to choose their own path in life. But without the clones, what will become of our military forces? Senator Palpatine asked, his voice full of concern. Senator Palpatine, all right. My guess is that is Palpatine's. My guess is that's Emperor Palpatine's son. He also sounds like he's against the Jedi and their decommissioning of the clones. Pretty cool. We will have to rely on volunteer forces, on citizens who are willing to defend the Republic because they believe in its principles, Senator Organa replied. We cannot rely on a standing army of genetically engineered soldiers. It goes against everything we stand for. Perhaps we can work with the Jedi to create a new type of military, one that is based on the principles of their freedom, of democracy and freedom, Senator Amidala suggested. And what will become of the clones? Senator Ta asked. They will be given the choice to either stay in service or retire from military life and pursue their own interests, Padme explained. They will be allowed to choose their own path in life, rather than being forced to fight for a cause that they may not believe in. The Senate was divided on the issue of decommissioning the clones, but ultimately they recognized the Jedi's decision as an ethical and just one. The Jedi's decision to decommission the clones set the stage for a new era of peace and prosperity, in which the galaxy was free from the tyranny of the Sith and the clones were given the chance to live their own lives. Who would become Chancellor of the Republic? After the fall of Palpatine, the question of who would become Senate Chancellor of the Republic was a matter of great importance. One possible dialogue among the senators could have gone like this. I believe we must begin the process of selecting a new chancellor, Senator Mon Mothma spoke up during a Senate meeting. I agree, Senator Bail Organa added. We need a leader who can unite the galaxy and lead us into a new era of peace and prosperity. I have already been contacted by several senators who are interested in the position, Senator Masamedo spoke up. Perhaps we could begin by considering their motivations. I believe that the new chancellor should be someone who has the best interests of the galaxy at heart, Padme Amidala said. Someone who is not beholden to any particular interest group, but who can represent all the people of the Republic. Agreed, Senator Organa said. We need someone who is committed to democracy and who can lead us forward with a vision for the future. At that moment, a new senator stepped forward. Excuse me, sir and madams. I believe I can be of service in this capacity, said the senator. And who might you be? Asked Mon Mothma. I am Senator Bail Antilles of Alderaan. There was a murmur of surprise from the senators, but Senator Antilles was well known for his commitment to the principles of democracy and freedom. I believe that my experience as a senator and my commitment to the principles of democracy make me a strong candidate for chancellor, Senator Antilles continued. I am not beholden to any particular interest group, and I am committed to representing the needs of all the people of the Republic. The senators considered Senator Antilles' proposal, and after much debate, they voted to make him the new Chancellor of the Republic. His commitment to the principles of democracy and freedom made him an ideal candidate for the job, and under his leadership, the galaxy was able to recover from the damage caused by the Clone Wars and move forward into a new era of peace and prosperity. Alright, just 3 more, guys. Just 3 more. What would the Jedi do with Anakin after he redeemed himself? After Anakin redeemed himself and helped to defeat Palpatine, the Jedi faced the difficult task of deciding what to do with him. One possible dialogue among the Jedi leaders could have gone like this. Anakin has turned away from the dark side, Obi-Wan Kenobi said during a meeting of the Jedi Council. We must decide what to do with him. He has committed many crimes, Mace Windu said. He must be punished for his actions. But he also helped to defeat Palpatine, Yoda pointed out, and saved many lives in the process. I think we should consider the possibility of redemption, Ahsoka Tano spoke up. Anakin made a mistake, but he has shown that he is capable of change. We cannot give up on him now. I agree, Obi-Wan said. Anakin has suffered greatly, and he has paid a heavy price for his actions. But he has also shown that he is willing to make amends for his actions. The council deliberated for some time, weighing the arguments for and against Anakin's redemption. Eventually, they decided to offer him a chance at redemption. Anakin, Obi-Wan said, as he approached his former Padawan, we have decided to give you a chance at redemption. You will be monitored closely, and if you step out of line, you will be held accountable for your actions. Anakin bowed his head. Thank you, Master. I will do everything in my power to make things right. The Jedi Council closely monitored Anakin's actions and progress, and over time, they saw that he was committed to making amends for his past mistakes. He became a valuable ally in the fight for justice and freedom. And eventually, he was able to regain the trust, and respect of the Jedi Order. In the end, Anakin was allowed to rejoin the Jedi Order, and he played a critical role in training a new generation of Jedi. His story became a cautionary tale for the Order, a reminder of the dangers of the dark side and the importance of staying true to the Jedi Order. Would Luke and Leia still be born? Yes, I think they would still be born. And yes, cool, yeah. And then here's the last one. Would the Jedi allow Anakin to train his children? Yes, I do believe the Jedi would allow Anakin to train his children. Maybe a few arguments back and forth during a few council meetings, but eventually I think they would let him train his children. And I think Obi-Wan would be in full support of it. Alright, now, so that was it now. So right now I'll do my close and say bye. Make sure to like, comment in the discussion tab, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!